Welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Tyler Hymanson.
And...
Elizabeth Helly.
And welcome. We're so glad to have you on this episode where we will be discussing Species: The Awakening.
Species 4 for the uninitiated.
Yes, it's the final film in the Species franchise.
Thank
franchise.
We shall be
French
saying
fries.
goodbye
French
to alien sex after this.
I know, it's going to be so sad, guys.
It's going to be so sad. You're going to have to be, you're going to have to turn to that tentacle porn to get your fix.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to just resort to watching regular sex on the internet.
I'm going to have to get
It's just not the same.
I'm going to have to resort to getting some giant rubber bodysuit.
Oh, Lord.
Leaping around.
Tyler's been acting weird lately.
Even showing up to yoga classes is just a giant scaly rubber bodysuit.
I mean, Halloween was like 3 weeks ago, right? I don't know, man. Good costume, though.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking in here about Species: The Awakening, the final film. Why don't we just get right into it?
Let's do it.
There were these DNA strands sent to Earth. We mixed those DNA strands with human genes. You were one of the results.
She was engineered.
Oh my God, we have met before. You're G178.
To become the perfect fusion
I don't know if I'm human or not, or if I have a soul or not.
of human and alien DNA.
You're a new kind of life, a highly functional hybrid.
There's just one problem.
She's sick. Not just sick, she's dangerous. I don't care.
These aren't human.
It's mating season.
Do not underestimate these things.
You set me up, you son of a bitch!
She's a pure creature. She'll most likely be pregnant before nightfall. In 2 weeks, this entire town will be overrun.
All right, you guys. Species 4.
The movie starts, it's 1902.
It's 1902. We're back in time.
No.
People are freaking out.
That would be an order of magnitude better.
Yeah.
So this movie came out in what, 2007?
2007.
Which
so
is what, 3?
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years since the last one.
Another direct to DVD release. I don't
Shown
think
on
this one...
Sci-Fi.
Oh yeah, this one was shown
Before
on Sci-Fi.
they changed their name to have all the Y's in it, it was still spelled with I's back
Sci-Fi.
then.
Sci-fi.
What is before the rebranding?
Kofifi.
I
It
thought
doesn't stand for anything now.
I
Now
know.
it's
I thought it used to stand for science fiction, but now I'm confused.
It's like KFC. It no longer stands for anything.
Yeah. Well, let's give a quick rundown of the amazing plot of this movie.
If you saw Species 3, then you've seen this plot.
I feel like it's pretty different.
It is. Is it?
I think it's pretty different.
Okay.
So basically, we open up on Miranda, an accomplished professor, and her Uncle Tom. Who
His
live
name's
together.
Uncle Tom. White Uncle Tom.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
never, there's so many white male names they could have given him, yet they chose to call him Uncle Tom. And she constantly says, Uncle Tom, through, the whole movie. She never, just calls him Uncle or anything.
Everything is fine in their life until Miranda starts experiencing species-like symptoms. And they decide that they need to flee to Mexico to go find her Uncle Tom's previous
Australian
lab
buddy.
partner.
But really, they just go there because it's cheaper to film in Mexico.
Well, right, but I'm just trying to say the plot.
Yeah.
So they go there basically to try to fix what was wrong with her.
Yeah.
And that is basically the plot.
Yeah. It's another professor with a species person
Yeah.
who is part of an experiment and taking care of them. And things go wrong.
It is mildly interesting that this film has no connection at all, really, to the original 3 films, as far as I can tell. They basically, in 2 seconds of dialogue, or 2 lines of dialogue, they speed over the same premise, basically, as the first film, where, aliens sent this DNA through the stars, and I with my partner from Australia, spliced together our own.
He was my
experiment.
student, but I wasn't sure if he was teaching me.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh, I guess that I didn't even hear that. That explains
no.
why he's so much younger than him.
Yeah. The dialogue. Was,
Well, I mean, I guess it's plausible that. Well, because when America got that signal, they probably didn't share it with any other countries. And
Right.
so since this guy's from London and his partner's from Australia, maybe those countries also somehow got
That's true.
the same transmission.
you could say that either they A, picked up the same transmission, or B, they sent the transmission again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were willing to give this movie way more credit than I am.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to explain.
Yeah, sure.
What
Or
could
we can
potentially
still
happen.
say that it's some other from the original Sill bunch that still run. Somehow there's some
maybe.
still
I
running
don't really
around.
think that's
Here's a
possible.
question, guys. Do psychics still exist in this universe? These are the questions.
No.
Forrest Whitaker's
No.
empath powers.
No mentions of psychics.
No,
Not
But
in
do you think-
Mexico.
but do you think
no
they're out there?
psychics in Mexico?
No psychics in Mexico.
they're very religious there. So
I think it says that on their flag.
Oh, God.
No psychics
Okay.
here. Don't worry.
God.
No, I'll look up the flag and see if it says it. I don't think it does.
So,
Anyways.
do you guys know a lot about Greek mythology?
Oh boy. So there's a scene in this where Miranda is teaching a class, and all the angles of her are just her legs, and the students behind her ogling.
Yeah.
And it's something about what did Zeus do to punish the people for? I don't know what part of mythology this is.
They found fire.
Yeah, they found fire. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it's the Prometheus story, and then it just cuts to the sequence of all the students guessing disease, floods,
How did Zeus punish humans?
Yeah.
Or men? How did Zeus punish men? Yeah.
And then Miranda does this no dummies. It was women, and then
Yeah.
she does this shrug. It's it's me.
And she does
a
a
stance.
model pose, Agent Tammy from Twin Peaks. She can't
Yeah.
stand still. She did that model pose or whatever.
She was like, Zeus gave the humans the worst thing he could think of, the source of all mortal suffering. A woman. Bam! Bam!
I mean,
much
is
like
that
that.
even part of Greek mythology, though?
I know, that's what I was
I
wondering.
don't think it is.
But I also didn't care enough to look it up.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't look it up
I
either,
didn't care.
sadly.
And then there's a weird thing where they can't so Miranda is super smart. She's a professor at this college. Same as Ben. No, not Ben.
Whatever. The guy from the last movie.
Yeah.
Abbott.
Dean! Dean!
Abbott and Costello.
Yeah. No, his character's Tom Hollander, right?
Yeah, not to be confused with Tom Holland. It's Tom Hollander.
But Ben Cross kind of looks like Napper, a little bit.
I guess.
Yeah.
Nepper's more like a slimy dude. No offense.
So their relationship's kind of weird in the beginning.
It seemed flirty.
It seemed she comes downstairs and he's there's 5 candles lit and he's I'm making a red wine sauce and then she just kisses him on the mouth.
What are you doing tonight?
Yeah, and she's I'm just going on a date. She's
Oh, a date?
a high school student. I'm just going out, Dad. It's weird.
Well, I guess one thing about their relationship, I did think it was better than in the third movie where Nepper had no fatherly affection towards Sarah. This one, at least, he actually really did think of her as a daughter.
He did still drug her in her sleep.
He did still drug her in her sleep. He still violated her lady parts for science. And yeah, but he did care about her being alive and being smart and having opportunities. And
And it never gets any weirder than that.
All right, so
I mean, it's their relationship's very strange. I don't want to fall into the plot trap a little bit too much. But
Yeah.
one of the things that happens here is that scene, the dinner scene happens, right? And then she goes off on a date, and the next scene is this jogger running, and he finds Miranda's body, and then it flashes back to the scene we just saw.
Yeah.
It's oh, it's a red wine sauce. I'm you see the exact same scene that you saw not 20 seconds before.
so they think she's dead. She wakes up in the hospital, kills a bunch of x-ray techs and nurses that were completely innocent.
Yeah.
He arrives on the scene and shoots her up with hormones.
Human hormones.
Yeah, so this is like what saves her every time she's having an alien attack, is that they shoot her up with hormones. Which, like, is that a thing?
I don't know.
Just like chromosomes.
Yeah.
Was this a weird callback on this? Because later on in the movie, he's like, "Don't worry, I took care of her being sterile."
I know.
Yeah.
I thought that same thing.
It was exactly like what
I did that
what's his
forever
face
ago.
said about that boy.
Nah, brah.
There's lots of mention of them being sterile, and it's the same writer as the last film.
I
you're
tweaked, maybe Ben Ripley has an issue.
Yeah.
Well, and then
That's
like,
messed up.
I guess maybe it has to do with her being sterilized, but like this whole time I was like, well, she's obviously like at least in her 30s, right? If she's a professor, or late 20s at most, or at youngest. And so I was like, is she a virgin this whole time? Like, did her alien side never come out?
But the way the flashback works is like, so it shows you the scene that you just saw, and then she's in the car with the dude, and it's like they're like next to each other, and it's like, wait, did she just get fucked for the first time? Is that what triggered this?
Yeah, I thought they showed them like kissing, and then it was like,
it's very unclear what happens. Later on, they give a reason of what's happening, and it has nothing to do with. Like, they say that she's dying of old age.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
I thought that was
there's no reason given for the inciting incident of like why she turned then that night. It's nothing.
Yeah, and like what happened when she was like a high school student, that was like getting handsy or something, or
she didn't get
in
handsy.
college or whatever, like they didn't really talk about if she just refrained from all sexual activity until
the movie is not very, very clear because two things that Hollander explains to her of where she's just like it's not true, like I'm your niece or whatever. He's like, no, I told you those stories that about who you were while you were a little kid until you believed him, like just like not inside of, he's just like, I told you that you had a mom and you believed it, you dummy. No, you totally have a mom. And then she's like, no, like that's, you're her brother, and he's like, I'm an only child.
There's so many amazing lines like that. Like, so they, they leave the hospital and they're like, we have to go to Mexico for some reason, because they got to escape the cops. And on the way there, this is after he's explained that she's like a species or whatever. He pulls out this like book out of his glove compartment or something.
They're bringing back the osmosis learning from 3.
Right, that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
So he pulls out this book and she's like, oh my God, it's full of Shakespeare sonnets. I love these sonnets. And he's like, you never opened that book in your life.
She's like, I've read it hundreds of times. No, you haven't. You touched it hundreds of times.
Here, take this car manual, touch it. And she touches it and she's like, immediately like, oh my God, you know that rattling in your car? You have to get higher octane gas. Oh my God, I know everything about cars!
Which is
just that car specifically.
Well, whatever. Which is like, it made me like, wait, do I need to read my fucking like instruction manual for my car? Like, because now I can diagnose noises?
Yeah.
Maybe. No, I don't think it would work like that.
There was also this.
Does it say in the manual?
But I want it to. Like, that's the thing. It's so fucking stupid. It's like, if you hear rattling, you're using the wrong type of gas. Just tell me what type of gas to use.
I don't know if it says that. Like, have you heard a popping noise?
No, of course it doesn't.
Frequently asked questions about your Ford Escape,
which is why that scene is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So now that we're in the another generation, or at least another sequel of this movie, these psychic powers, or not psychic, because that was Forrest Whitaker. So original Natasha Henstridge aliens, they could learn by TV, and then the last movie, the third one, we were saying, wow, they really took these powers a step farther by letting her touch books, and now she can read.
Yeah.
Now they take it a step even farther. Yeah. She can figure out the combination to a combination lock by putting her hand on it and hearing whispers of all the numbers. It was like the numbers of Lost being whispered, and they're like 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. And then she's like, I got it. And she undoes also, the combination lock.
I was like, isn't that like a key card thing? It was like something you'd have to slide a key card and then put in the code, but she just touches the key card part and goes, I got it. beep, boop, 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 in.
Which is the key card to which we'll get to. I forget the character's name. Is Finn McGinnis.
It's Forbes McGuire. You were so close. Forbes McGuire.
So yeah, Forbes McGuire is the Australian.
Forbes McGuire has the dumbest use of the alien DNA yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's the scientist that may or may not be able to save Miranda.
Yeah.
And we find him in his warehouse having sex with one of his.
Yeah, they walk in and
His
he's
Mexican warehouse.
He's like,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we have gone to Mexico for the tax breaks and the cheaper,
Yep,
Yeah, where everything is green because all of the lights have green gels on them the entire time. It's
Yeah.
really weird.
They walk in and he's like having sex and he's like, yeah, giddy up, yeah, in the background.
Right. Everyone have fun getting that image out of your mind.
That's what
what it
was
is.
going on.
But
I wrote it down.
guys, we have. Well, we need to get back to who he's having sex with.
Sure,
And
explain who they are.
Because
Oh, yeah.
because this is not an introduction to her.
No. Yeah, we're watching this movie that like is. I mean, there's like she's killing people with her alien tongue or whatever.
Oh.
But it's still like kind of like, oh, this is like kind of a normal movie. Like it's going
It's
on.
different. Like,
Yeah.
like he's taking care of her. She's like, you've killed people. We need to kind of go. Like, there's something wrong with you. He's caring about her. This type of thing. They
Yeah,
make
but it's totally different than all the other species
Yeah.
because so far there's no sex or
Yeah.
reproduction
It's more like
mentioned at all.
It's more like a soap opera beginning where it's like, I'm not your father. I am your father.
Yeah.
No, I thought you were my dad.
2/3 of the movie goes by before nudity happens. When it did, I was like, oh, like, wait, so we are doing this?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
But yeah, so they're, they get to Mexico and Uncle Tom is going around looking like, have you seen this guy named Forbes? Have you seen this guy named
He has
Forbes?
like 3 photos. He's just going around
Yeah.
the town being
I was like, this guy's a fucking idiot. I wouldn't go around asking for some potentially scary dude.
He leaves Miranda at the. He's like, I'm gonna go find him, and then you're like, okay, like he
Yeah.
has a plan, and he's like going up to kids playing soccer in the street.
Yeah,
And,
there's
like-
this amazing scene where he's like asking the guy at the newsstand, like, have you seen this guy? And he's like, no, sir. And then as soon as he walks away, like, he walks away, and right behind him as he leaves is like this nun who's standing there, and you're like, the fuck? A nun? And then she looks up and she's got like crazy eyes, and you're like, what the fuck? And then he's like, walking through the alley. He like messes up this soccer game that these kids are having. And he kicks the ball back and goes like, you shouldn't be playing soccer in the street. I'm a white guy. I know what I'm talking about. And then
I believe it's called football.
Okay,
Not
whatever.
to him.
That's
He's
what the
giving
white guy
the
would
ultimate
say.
white guy, like, you rapscallions.
Look at this silly soccer ball. And they're like, what are you fucking talking about?
Should you be out having opinions about the capital gains tax?
Yeah. So he like kicks the ball and it goes past him. And then like this stupid scene where the ball's rolling and someone like puts a foot on it. Boom.
And it's a giant, like thigh high, like Doc Martin.
Yeah. And then we do the slow pan up and you're like, oh shit, it's the nun. And she looks up really slowly and smiles like, I'm a nun, bitch.
She's wearing a ton of makeup too,
Yeah.
so her nun disguise is not very good to begin with.
It's a poor nun disguise.
And then there's like this hilarious scene where we'll probably have like a GIF for you guys.
Yeah.
But there's like this like
we
intercutting scene of between the nun being like, I'm a nun. And then Uncle Tom being like, why is there a nun? What? And then it cuts back to her like, I'm still a nun. And then she sticks out her tongue and it's like one of those like crazy species forked tongue things. And then he's like, oh fuck, and runs.
And then it's a cut of him. No, just the whole chase sequence is him like running up places, and then her on the ground being like,
Yeah, but she he runs away. Yeah. He runs away and she immediately, instead of running after him, jumps up at the top of a building, like a 4-story building.
like Power Rangers style.
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
so bad.
Like, make my monsters grow! Like, jumps up.
That's exactly how this.
Yeah,
plays
and then
out.
there's these shots of her, like, superhero jumping across the rooftops of buildings, and I'm like, what the fuck
And then
is
so
this?
she's doing like the Yoshi tongue at him, trying to like stop him. And then like so he's at the top of these stairs, and they get around him, and then the cops show up.
Yeah.
But like they're not really even looking. And then so she's like, cops are here. Play it cool. And then just walks away.
Yeah.
And you don't know who she was, why that happened, or what's going on.
But I was kind of like, how the fuck did those cops not see that? They were right there.
There's a point where she has a giant tongue coming, it's going up like 2 stories. He's like, and the cops are like, there's just literally a cop car. No one gets out. Like, nothing happens. She just decides to walk away.
Okay, we need to move on from this scene.
I like in this film that the previous film they made this whole thing about like, you don't want the tongue.
Yeah.
And we don't see anyone getting killed with the tongue. This movie, I think literally every person gets killed with the tongue.
Every person does. There's not any cool way that somebody dies. There's a really lame thing that happens where at some point Miranda shoots spikes and it
so the tongue can now be used as darts. Like the end of the tongue comes off and stabs.
Yeah, it was weird.
Into
But then
someone.
when she pulled him out, it was like a metal rod.
Yeah, she dropped him on the ground and they sounded like metal.
I mean, Species 3 at least had the dude getting cut in half. Like it had like her arm being regenerated. But like there were some fun things.
The tongues now are kind of like a crazy like lizard tongue that shoot out and stab people and come back. That's about it. Yeah. But I think almost everyone that dies gets killed with the tongue.
Yes.
There's no other like let's kill them some creative way where they get cut in half. Like like you said. No. Doesn't happen.
There was one guy that got the tongue through both ears instead of through the mouth.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He
kind of had it coming.
So there's a scene that we're talking about here where Miranda later in the film is out in the town like looking
She's
for
in the
a
club.
guy.
Yeah.
She's in the club. The club is called Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yes,
I didn't notice that.
And this guy, so she's like, she listens to the band. She goes into the like dressing room of the lead singer and's like, give me your dress. And she's like, oh God, okay. So she's got this hot dress. She's in the dance floor, like looks at this one like Mexican guy, and he totally leaves the date that he's with and comes in and starts dancing with her. But is like, real creep. Like comes up to her.
He's doing like the tongue flicking thing.
He puts his tongue in her ear and he's like,
and then this scene was so.
He starts building a nest.
Yeah.
The scene was so weird to me because like you can see his mouth moving and it looks like he's. I don't know what he's saying, but it looks like he's speaking Spanish.
How can you look like you're speaking Spanish?
Well, because you can hear... Okay, because in the scene, you can hear other words happening that sound like English to me, and they were not matching what he was saying. So I was assuming...
There's an overdub of him.
So I was assuming he was speaking Spanish in that scene, and they overdubbed what it sounded like, like some guy going...
He's like, yeah, give me the tongue.
Yeah, it sounded like some guy going, yeah, my ear. Yeah, give it to my ear. And then I swear to God, he was like, me likey. Or something.
Yeah, he did say that. I think he said like daddy likey or something like that. Yeah.
It was like, because she starts like using her weird tongue to lick his ear, and he's like,
because he did that to her, yeah.
Oh yeah, my ear. And I was like, what the fuck is going on in this scene? And then she sticks her tongue through his head, and then
so
everybody
a little variation.
That guy's compadre got killed.
Anyway,
compadre,
a monster killed me, compadre.
Yeah, that's what he tells. That's what his friend is saying after. So I want to go back to the scientist. Figgy McGiddle or whatever his name. Forbes McGuire.
Ferguson McLeary.
Yeah. the Australian,
yeah.
So he's there, he's having sex with this girl, and it's revealed that she is the nun from before.
But she's not just a nun, she's also a director of...
she's the community outreach.
Oh yeah,
Director
he makes a
community.
joke that she's the director of community outreach. So anyways, this dude examines Miranda and determines that she's basically just dying of old age. The alien lifespan, her alien side is like dying out and taking the human side with it.
So Frank McManus has like this giant secret Mexico lab that they've broken into, and his plan is he basically makes fuck puppets for the community.
I don't think that's what he was doing.
Well, he's making whatever you want. Like he's like, if you have a lost loved one, bam, alien DNA, you get that guy back. Dead dog, alien DNA, bam.
Yeah, let's not just gloss over the dog thing
dead
here.
dog,
He makes a species dog, you guys. This is a thing he does.
I'm hoping that's what. Never mind.
No, that is. That could be the sequel.
I hope that's the next movie.
Because he mentions that he has clients, and that like most of his clients are like, my loved one died and I want them back. So apparently he not only mastered splicing, but also cloning people, because I don't know how he's just...
Because he did something with stem cells?
Because alien... Well, there's a lot.
I didn't understand it.
There's
at
a
all.
lot of throwing around of chromosomes,
Stem
human
cells.
hormones, and stem cells by someone who obviously has no idea what any of those things are.
Yeah, and so his whole thing about they were like, oh, she's so young. Like, how can she be dying? You know, she's so vibrant and young. I was like, is this the thing about how like actresses can't get any work after they turn 30? You know, like they're like, oh, she's 30, she's spent, she's dying of
I'm
old
sure that's what they
age.
were
Like,
trying
get
to
her
say.
out of here.
I don't think that's what Ben Ripley was going for.
Doubtful. There's no subtext to this.
But like the
film.
weird thing, like, so something that could be cool. Like, let me describe this movie to you that I would watch if I just read this as a log line. It's like, okay, so this guy's doing alien DNA. He's doing illegal like science experiments down in the city of Mexico, and some of these things are getting away. It's basically like an alien species version of From Dusk Till Dawn. I would like, oh, it's this town in Mexico. There's all these alien hybrids. Like, there's some people that are around. Some of them are rejects. Some of them are actually upstanding citizens. And like, and you roll up into this town you don't know, and shit goes down. I'd watch that movie. There's an actual fun premise in there somewhere. But they ignore that.
So yeah, in order to save Miranda, they need to get a random woman and somehow I don't know. Can anyone explain
made no
what
sense.
they do?
It makes no sense. So basically, like she's dying, and Tom Hollander, where he answers the phone as Hollander. He says, "Oh, you're dying," and she's like, "I've lived a good life. Take me back. I want to hold myself accountable for these murders."
Yeah. Because she knows she's gonna die.
And then Quigley McGinnis says to him, "Nope. Like you need to get a human, so we can do a human graft to save her. You basically need to kill somebody to save her life."
But I have no idea how this procedure worked.
Yeah, so basically
The procedure's the most hilarious part, but the character part of him just being like she's being like, "No, I want to do the right thing," to him being like, then it cuts to him going out to a bar to presumably pick up a hooker to murder.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
He
'Cause
looks
she
like he
started
feels
dying.
a little bit guilty throughout.
He walks out, he leaves, like he's going to do it.
Yeah,
like he's
he
at
is.
least entertaining the idea.
But then
of
he
it.
kind of chickens out, and this chick, what was her name? Azura? The nun girl.
I just called her nun lady the whole
Yeah,
time.
the nun lady is like, stop wasting time. Let's just take this body.
Somebody
and
pulls a
leave.
gun on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
And so now it's justified.
Yeah.
And then so they kill an innocent woman.
Yeah.
I like how he goes out, like, every time he's looking for people, he's like, have you seen Forbes? And then he goes out and he's like, Miranda! Where are you? And then this time he's like, hooker! Girl!
He's like Christopher Nolan's Batman, the world's greatest detective. Where is he?
Where is she? But so they capture this girl and they're bringing her back, and she's like crying, like, what are you doing to me? And there's this hilarious scene where the nun girl like punches her out. She's like, shut up! And sorry, she punches her and she's like, shut up! You're about to be harvested. Just like that. Where she's like, she screams at her and then is like, we're gonna kill you.
If you guys could see Justin's sexy poses right now as he acts this out.
But that's what
would
it
be
is.
great.
It's so like unnatural and clunky. It's
Her
awful.
every time she spoke was just really terrible. But so they take her back, and they're magically in these cocoons that, like, you know,
giant, like cocoons from the first movie on the train.
yeah, similar to the cocoons in the previous film, but there's no explanation as to where they came from.
Yep.
They're just all of a sudden
There's
like,
something about stem cells
Put
and
them in these
impregnating
cocoons.
the other lady.
So what it is like there's all these little quick cuts that just fade to black, and it's just them like muttering like science bullshit.
I have all these amazing
it's-
lines that I wrote down.
Let's read them out, please.
Okay, so Forbes McGuire is like, he's like the whole time is just really nonchalantly like, okay, first off, we're going to impregnate Colette with alien DNA. Which, first of all, I was like,
wait?
First of all, like, how do they suddenly know her name? Yeah. Like, they never mentioned her name the whole time.
This is the random hooker lady.
Yeah. So they do that. Like, they show this weird, like, needle arm, like, turning left and right, like, and it, like,
filled with like yellow liquid.
it stabs into the one girl, and then the nun lady goes, fertilization achieved. Like, but I probably did it better than her, actually.
Yeah.
I think she was like, fertilization achieved.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And then he goes back to Forbes again, and he's like, okay, the trick here is injecting the stem cells at just the right point in their evolution. In
AKA
other words, now. And it was just like, yeah. And so the whole thing, like you said, they're throwing around chromosomes, stem cells. So basically, the thing,
it's just like all these little fates, like this crazy montage of just all this dumb bullshit, and they're just like, yeah, just get the science shit in there.
So basically, like whatever they did works. And Miranda wakes up and she's like talking. She like is kind of out of it, and she's like, "But how did you?" And Forbes is like, "Stem cells, baby. Drink some water."
I do have
that's
to
like
say,
the whole movie. They just gloss over it. Whatever.
The big cocoon, and her coming out of the cocoon. Like I thought that looked pretty good. Like the special effects of it. Like,
it was another like slimy naked birth.
Yeah. But it was kind of funny. At one point, they had the camera like panning across the cocoon, and like you couldn't really see anything except her boob and her nipple was like pressed against
one tit.
Yeah, like one boob was pressed against the side of the cocoon, so you could see it. But that was it.
So they said they were doing human grafting, but it doesn't really make sense. Like, why do they have to impregnate the one girl and then? How did it transfer over to
and then later,
Miranda? I have
McGuire is like, she's got no human left in her now. She's all alien. It's like, oh, you grafted another human onto her.
That was the procedure.
What?
So it basically makes no sense.
Yeah, basically after this procedure, Miranda becomes like a fuck crazy bimbo.
Your
again.
typical sex crazed species alien, and she looks hot again. So
yeah,
yay.
It was...
So she immediately goes out.
I don't know what the species like. I think the other movies have this existential threat, right? Where it's like Eve, or in all the other movies, it's like, oh, like if they fuck, like they're gonna take over the human race or whatever. Right. It's like in this movie, I don't know what the aliens want.
Well, yeah, and there was like a lack of concern because the guy is just making all these species and they're all around. They're like, one guy's a cab driver, one guy's
runs the hotel.
Yeah, he runs the hotel.
Yeah, the bellboy.
Like, there's a dog out in the world. There's all these species everywhere, and everyone's like, whatever, it's Mexico. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean,
so funny.
That's
like,
literally what it is.
Yeah.
So she's back alive, and she's like, oh, I'm feeling so good or whatever. And they're like, all right, let's go home. And she's like, hold on. Hold on, let me just do one thing before we go back home. And her uncle's like, yeah, of course, anything you want. She's like, let me just fuck this girl right here to the nun lady. And everyone's like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, because it just comes completely out of left field. Like, and also, you can't get pregnant from that. I'm sorry. And this whole time I've been
She's
saying,
not even trying to get pregnant.
I don't think she's trying to get pregnant.
She's not even trying. That's not even the goal.
Yeah, it's so.
She just wants to have sex.
It was like, it literally feels like that scene happens. She's like, I want to fuck this girl right here. It's like, it was like bring your 13-year-old son to work day, and he was just like, I'm gonna write a scene.
But they don't do anything. McGuire's like, no, that's my bitch, and so they leave. And then she turns to her uncle. You want to talk about it?
No, I was just gonna say she first tries to fuck the girl.
Yeah.
Can't fuck her. Yeah, everyone leaves, and then she's like, yeah, goes after the uncle.
She's like, now I know the truth. You're not really my uncle. It's like, is this one of those like super like a trite, forbidden family porno situation?
It's like
the
species apparently love incest because you have your brother. That's true. That whole thing.
I was like, well,
Patrick's daddy.
This film is the closest to being like, half a step away from just being a straight up porn film.
Yeah, and
the other ones.
I will admit that I watched the last part of this on the train yesterday, and I was like, because I didn't think, I was like, oh, it's sci-fi. Like this one, like when I watched the first half, I was like, there's not nudity in this one at all. Yeah. And then I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, oh shit! Like I'm just like trying to hide my phone because it's so filthy.
There's a 5-minute long fuck scene.
Well, but I think maybe the second one had more various women.
But it was more like 90s, like gratuitous nudity, like an 80s action movie.
True. This is like long, extended.
And again, it has like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, they were way more. In the other films, they were never like, I want to fuck you right now, or you've been wanting to fuck me all your life, or whatever, since you first saw me. They she's way more aggressive in this one and is saying like, explicitly talking about sex the whole time. The other ones, they were just kind of like, they would say something more like, I want to make a baby. They wouldn't be like, well, in the
first movie there was an innocence to it where like she didn't know she was like, I don't even understand how sex works. Like, but she's like, I know that I don't like what this dude's doing to me.
Right.
Yeah.
In this one it's just like, I mean, she's sexualized when she's wearing like a fucking sexy secretary outfit and teaching a class.
Yeah.
But then it becomes this. I mean, it was one of those things where if somebody had just glanced over my shoulder and saw me watching this movie, they'd be like, "Oh, this dude's watching porn on the show."
Yeah.
I'm sure you wouldn't be the first.
Did you guys like when this?
Don't make me not feel special.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're the first person to ever watch porn on LA Metro.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Would you like I'll make you an award. Yeah.
A blue ribbon. I will wear it. I'll show it the next time the police ask for my fare. Nope.
Oh my
I'm
god.
special.
Anyways, I don't remember what happens, but she somehow escapes. The whole club thing happens.
She doesn't even escape. Like, he just goes out, and then she's like, "Wait, she's not here."
Oh, yeah,
that's when he goes out and goes, "Miranda, are you in this alleyway right outside the lab? I don't want to go very far. I hope you're here. No? You can answer. Are you here? Hello?
Wait, we
only shot in 2 locations. Hello?
Which we did leave out one of my favorite things about this movie.
Okay.
So when they first get to the hotel, before they even meet Aussie Irish man, the oil tycoon from The Simpsons is staying at the hotel.
God. That was so bad.
They never really explained who the heck he was, but he was trying to subvert Uncle Tom's plan to find Forbes, but we don't really ever find out
You
who the
thought
hell
that
he
maybe
is.
he worked for Forbes,
Yeah.
but like that's unclear. He's basically just like this crazy Texas dude.
Yeah. Which, like,
Yeah, he was like, literally his first line is like, "Yeehaw! Where you going there, partner?" Like, I wrote that down. I was like, Jesus Christ. And then, like, the very next line is like, "Oh, yeah, those Mexicans down here, man, you gotta bribe them. They don't talk about shit."
They play dumb until you pay. Is
Yeah,
what he
exactly.
says.
God.
But it's one of those things where
Yeehaw! Let me introduce you to my horse.
you can't introduce.
I bought him in Mexico. Yeehaw!
You can't introduce a crazy cowboy, and then he's in the two scenes, and then he's not killed. Like Miranda shows up, like he pulls a gun on Hollander. And then Miranda shows up, and like he obviously knows, like he sees her eyes change.
Yeah,
knows that the species thing is happening. Then it cuts
he goes,
"Yeehaw! Yeehaw! I'm gonna get the shit."
you hear like some really dumb punching Foley sounds.
You hear somebody punching like a bag of meat.
Yeah.
And then this is after Hollander was set up. He's attacked by this dude in a taxi cab in this hilarious set piece where it just looks like it's from The Strain. It looks like it's straight up from The Strain.
Yeah.
So after that, so like you don't even see their conversation, you don't see the interrogation. It just cuts to them outside being like, "I hope we're not being set up again." Which I thought was hilarious. It's just like, okay, so it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like the movie does the same thing over again, where it's like, let's flash back to the scene that you just saw.
So after the club scene that we already talked about, Miranda comes by Forbes in an abandoned bicycle tire factory, I think. There's just piles of like hoses or something all over the place.
Yes,
And yeah, what happens, guys?
She's like, basically has sex with him.
Yeah, well, no. There's a very beautiful musical number.
Okay, talk about the song.
There's an original song, I assume.
I don't know if it was original, actually. So, there's like shitty score throughout this entire film. And then, like, this one scene, this is like the big literal climax of the film where she corners Forbes and he like tries to fight her off, but then like
does he
does a little bit because he tries to
he has a syringe in his pocket.
Yeah, he goes to like stab her with a
but
syringe.
once she gets the syringe out of his hand,
and then
he just
like,
freezes.
Well, he's just scared.
Yeah,
because so like this whole thing happens where Forbes is like, you need to go, like now that she's escaped, you need to kill her.
Yeah,
like she's like, there's a problem here. And so he has, again, they go back to the acid. It's like here's a syringe full of hydrochloric acid, and then he's like, here's a shotgun that also has acid in it somehow.
So then, after she stops him, he kind of, gives in, and she starts to like take off his clothes.
I don't think he really gives in. I think she just rapes him.
Well,
sure.
She does not obtain affirmative and ongoing verbal consent.
I don't know. I think it's up for debate because she was probably right about when she was like, "You've been wanting to fuck me since you
made me."
That doesn't mean that he gave
ongoing
and affirmative consent. He was frozen.
Yeah, sure. He looked like he was fine with it, actually.
I don't think
But
so.
anyways, like, she starts, like, taking off his clothes, and it starts playing this song. The whole movie has been score up until this point, and then suddenly, like, vocals come in.
Sparse score.
And it turns out it's this song called Dark as Love by this band Luscious Redhead.
Is it a band or just a girl?
I have no idea. The artist is called Luscious
I tried to
Redhead.
Google Luscious Redhead to find out what else they had done. And if you Google those two words, it comes up with 0 results.
Well, because they spell
Not
it
even,
weird, right?
not even like, no, I spelled it like the regular way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lucius
How is that possible
Redhead.
that there are no search results for those two words put together?
Maybe you have an adult filter.
No, I don't. Like, I mean, I don't think I do.
But it's like this song that they like were like, oh, we wrote this for the Matrix, but they didn't want to use it.
Yeah, I have a song I wrote for the Matrix too.
They're guessing that. We don't know.
It's like, I know, I'm just making that up. That's because that's what it sounds like. It's like boom, 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 boom. And then the lyrics are like this, like girl, and she's like, she. Imagine echoes on everything I say.
Yeah.
Came down, down from heaven. And then like it's like this sexy song, and then it builds and builds. It's a terrible song.
It's a terrible song. It's like a seduction scene, and it's cross-cutting between them fucking and the club scene, right?
No.
I have to say, I was looking up.
You
this...
didn't get to the chorus.
Well, I don't remember how it goes, but anyways, I was looking up this song just like Eliz was.
Yeah.
And I found someone posted a review of the song online, and I have to read some of it.
Please do. I'm excited for this.
Is this from like a certain website or?
It's
looks
like
like
it's just like
somebody's
someone's
blog?
blog
Yeah.
on Blogspot.
Oh, on Blogspot. Ooh.
So he's got this like introduction of what the song is, and then it says, anyway, it's a slow, wet, echoing sound. Kind of like Enigma's Gravity of Love. Though the vocals for this song aren't the best, they're well complemented by the music, particularly the lovely piano that peeks in. From the start with, she came down from heaven. The song soothes, even while some people might find it a tad dark. I just need to keep going because it's just so great.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
please do.
I can't find a copy of the lyrics, but from listening to the song, it sounds clean. Something about a dark woman coming down from heaven and hypnotizing everyone with her beauty, possibly referencing a dangerous woman with a gorgeous facade. The repetitive chorus consists of dark as love and something about shadows several times. It also mentions something about angels falling. Suffice it to say that I don't quite get it.
Wait, what's his username or her username?
This comes from christiansongreviews.blogspot. In the end, he gave it a 7 out of 10.
Oh my god. The piano is downright voyeuristic.
Wait, are they reviewing the song in relation to the movie? Does it
no,
mention the movie at
just
all?
the song.
my
It's reviewing the
God.
song, but it says in here that they heard it on a new CBS series called Moonlight.
Oh.
This is actually from 2007.
Moonlighting? No, okay.
And
Oh, God.
I just feel like we're gonna have to put the song at the end of the episode because
Oh, you will hear it.
Yeah.
we can't suffer alone, you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to hear it.
So you
Might
gotta
change your life.
gotta just listen to this.
And we are indeed making fun of it.
Yeah.
For all you lawyers out there.
She rapes what's his name, Phineas McGibblesnatch, and
Phineas McGarbin.
Fagor MacGuffin.
Yeah.
and then she gives him the tongue, so he's dead.
Yep. Right
Yep.
to the eye.
And somehow they end up back in the lab with Uncle Tom.
Did you guys like when this film turned into a Mortal Kombat?
Yeah,
spin-off?
I did.
A little bit.
She becomes pregnant, right?
She is pregnant.
She is
He
pregnant
has
with
her on
Conor
the
McGregor.
stretcher, and he sees that there's clearly, like, he touches her stomach, and, like, a face, like, comes up against the...
Wait. We skipped over a weird church fight. That
Well,
happens
yeah,
for
we
no
can get
reason.
to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
the church fight was actually way before this.
But we can get to that.
Yeah, so a face is shown to be in her stomach.
Yeah.
So she's pregnant. And she's basically like, kill me. You know, don't let this alien thing continue. Please kill me.
Now that her lust rage has subsided, she's back to being Miranda for a little bit, I
I
guess.
guess. So instead of killing her or giving her a, Prometheus style, alien schmishmortion scene, he just leaves when he hears like noises outside and like dripping water sounds, and what's her face, Azurja, nun lady, is out there waiting to kill him.
Yeah,
But
basically,
why?
Maybe because she wants the species to continue.
But why?
I don't know.
Like, so, like, the
Because
thing-
she-
So, like, there's, like, so the whole thing that, like, McGinnis's species people were dumber, right? They didn't have the osmosis powers. So, like, she was a pure
No, she does have the
No, she
osmosis
does have the
powers.
Right, but she was hiding that from him. He didn't know that.
I don't know if they were dumber. They would just.
That's
He,
what-
he made them sterile.
No.
I don't think he ever said they were dumber.
He was just being
He's-
racist because they were Mexican.
Okay.
I don't think.
He did say that they were dumber.
I don't know.
No, he said that they're not as smart as you. She maybe not be as smart after the graft either. He says all of those things.
Yeah.
Well,
And so, like, so
Apparently,
they're
you watched
also
this
younger.
movie.
Yeah.
They're also much younger than Miranda.
But then she's like, don't you care if this person dies? And he's like, no, I don't give a shit. I'll just make another one.
Yeah.
And he's like, so, like, he has all of these drones or whatever.
She hears that and she doesn't like it.
She hears that and she
Nun
doesn't
lady.
like it. I don't. So, but then she tries to stop Hollander from. I don't know what she wants.
Yeah, you're right. We don't.
I don't know what.
She wants to have a final act, fight scene. That's what she wants.
But that's what she wants. Like, does she so she fights Hollander in
this
a
is
church
her.
before
This is her Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I
audition
did
scene.
like when she was fighting him in the church and he blocked her claw with the Bible. And so she instantly read the Bible and she was like, where is it? She says like,
It's a
great
line from
job,
Genesis.
humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something
Oh
like
no,
that.
she's like humans, not a very nice race.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
goes Genesis 20. Behold, thou art but a dead man.
She says, not so good, you humans,
Yeah.
after she instantly reads the Bible, which, like, that's a fair take.
I think that there was something that was maybe cut out of the movie where all of his lesser clone people had an awakening as well because that she was a more pure form and she came there. I'm not sure. It is very unclear.
Yeah.
But she
I don't think anything
she-
was cut out of
She
this.
did not have the osmosis powers, or at least McGillicuddy did not know that she had them until this scene.
Yeah. So
He never knew she had him because he was dead.
Yeah. So
He was fucking
she's attacking Uncle Tom in the warehouse room or whatever, and then all of a sudden, to save him, comes Miranda in full alien form.
Yeah.
Now, what do we think about these alien suits? Are they better than the third
They
one?
look like cone heads.
They do. Now they have kind of like pointy hair. But I think overall they looked a little better than the ones
The only
in
thing
the
that I
last
thought was
movie.
interesting was that their hair actually like floated up and formed into their head. I mean, it was so
It
dumb.
was an awful effect.
But at least it was like, oh, that's where that comes from. Okay, yeah. It's not like they just like suddenly transformed and their heads elongated or something stupid.
Yeah. So then they fight each other.
It's a decent showdown.
At some point, but like even during the church fight, I don't know why I'm still stuck on this because I'm like I just don't know what they fucking want. She's like everything was going fine until you two showed up, and it's like, well, what did they ruin?
Maybe they were just trying to get more.
It was
and
going
more
fine. I don't know.
Species.
They were just
I don't
making
know,
money
whatever.
and like fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, wait, so she's talking about their. So like, is it like she's
Their whole operation was totally fine.
She's upset that her boyfriend's dead.
No, I think that they were fucking making money from doing.
Does she need money?
I mean, was
I'm
she
sure
gonna-
he was taking care of her. I don't know.
If
man.
he's the one that impregnates Miranda, was he also impregnating her?
No, because he made them all sterile.
Oh yeah, they're sterile. Yeah, maybe that's why. So the only
Why
way
are we
to continue...
arguing about stupid plot
No, but I know,
details?
but the only way to continue the species is for Miranda to have it because she's not sterile.
But they weren't even caring about that.
I'm not arguing about plot details. I just like I'm like my point being is like in all the other movies, like you get kind of what the overarching thing is. Like there's like an innate biological threat
Right.
in terms of what they're doing, and in this movie, it's just like what?
Well, because they don't. Yeah, because they don't even need her to be pregnant or anything. He can just make another species thing. Like,
Yeah.
He's like makes a dog during the movie. Like it ain't no thing.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it just takes away. Like it's one of those things where it kills. I thought the last 3 movies killed everything that was cool about it, but turns out there was still more to murder. Is my point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyways, they have a big showdown between the two aliens, which is kind of what we've been saying that we wanted from all of these movies and never really happened.
It's the same fight in 3, and the nun even falls down a shaft.
No, they didn't. But
She falls down a
those two
shaft.
aliens didn't really fight in 3.
They fought in
Not
the
each
fusion
other.
reactor. Yes.
No, they were fighting to get the embryo can from what's his face.
She was protecting Dean as well.
Yeah, it was very much like not quite as involved as.
But it was definitely the longest fight we've seen between two aliens.
Yeah.
Is my point. And it's not really the fight we wanted, but it's possibly the fight we deserve. So
I did like the shot of her falling down the shaft at the end because they did like a CG, like it was her body in CG, and then like she changed back into human, and then kind of like ragdoll hit the ground.
Yeah,
and I thought it looked kind of cool.
It did
for this movie. Like,
yeah, and then basically
close the shaft, Dean.
Miranda sacrifices herself to save Uncle Tom, and then Uncle Tom kills the nun lady with the hydrochloric acid buckshot rifle.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. So
this
and then
ending,
we never find out what happened to the pregnancy or the baby or anything.
Because that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The ending was hilarious. He decides that he's gonna blow everything up.
So yeah, he's gonna blow everything up, and so there's a bunch of welding. He kills somebody with a welding torch earlier in the movie because he pours a bunch of gasoline on a taxi cab from like this strain alien dude.
Yeah.
So in McGinnis's lab, there's all of these tanks, and he's like, he goes to Miranda, you were right. You were always right. And then unleashes all the knobs on all of these gas canisters, which seems like it's going to make a pretty big explosion.
But it's not enough.
Then he wanders into the kitchen and then turns on all of the gas on the stove and walks past all their fancy lab equipment and all this stuff. It's like there's some tanks in some warehouse that's obviously another location. And now this part where there's a stove. And then he lights a Bunsen burner, which has like a red flame, which is a nice tribute to Napper, I think, in his Viking funeral.
Oh, God.
I don't think so.
All right.
I'm totally fucking harassed.
So it's over. We need to talk about overall reflections.
There's actually this kind of like spectacular explosion at the end.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That like, in the special features that were actually pretty good on this one too. They said it was like a 9-charge explosion, and it was like so huge that like the flames like went right over the heads of the like director and stuff during it. And apparently they shot it from really far away at some point too, and it looked like a huge mushroom cloud set off all these car alarms. But they were like,
they should have just filmed the old backdraft ride at Universal Studios.
Yeah, it was actually kind of an impressive explosion. I was like, whoa, okay, that was like a real explosion. They didn't do it at all. Bullshit.
And then Hollander walks away like, I did it.
And then roll credits.
Yeah.
No stinger, no tag, no nothing.
Nope. I thought when the credits rolled and it was still showing the movie, I was like, oh man, is this one going to end with another kid at the end? Is there going to be another fucking kid that walks out of the flames like...
Or the species dog somewhere?
Yeah. Well, there's still a species dog out in the world.
Yeah.
You're right.
He did say that they died after a couple months.
Oh, well, whatever.
All right, so overall thoughts. What do we think the order is of how, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, and why do you think that is?
1, 3, 2, 4.
1, 3, 2, 4.
Oh no, I would just go 1, 2, 4, 3.
What?
You thought 3 was the worst?
Yeah. It's the dumbest.
I'm struggling to determine which one I hated more, 3 or 4. But I would definitely go 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, or 4, 3, yeah.
3 is worse because it just it like connects to the other films, but just totally wastes that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So
okay.
I was like, this one was way like campier and stupid. And I just enjoyed it for that like dumb quality,
yeah.
But the other one was trying to be
It was interesting because in the first movie, I really didn't have any affinity for Michael Madsen. I was like, whatever. Michael Madsen's annoying and just dumb. But like, when we got less of him, we got less of him in 2, and then none of him in 3 and 4. And looking back on the whole series, I'm like, that's what was missing from these later movies because he was he was serious. He wanted to catch her, but he was always the comic relief too.
Right.
He was the one that they would always walk in on a scene, and he would have some quip or some really funny comment that kept the series like sort of grounded and not taking itself so seriously.
I think that there's something to the first one that's almost like a Ghostbusters element, where they are all professors. They're all like, it's something that, but they're all research people except for Michael Madsen. Like, they're all these scientists that are in this situation that they're not necessarily used to being in, and that's something that's charming about it, that allows you to get an Alfred Molina, Ben Kingsley, a Forrest Whitaker, you know, in this monster chase down movie. And that's fun. 2 kind of has that same thing where you get an astronaut and a paid killer and a biologist, and we're gonna go hunt down this thing.
And I mean, I know we talked about, you mentioned Michael Madsen, but I think also Natasha Henstridge, like, her presence is really awesome. Like in the first 2 films,
she brought something good to those fake alien
like the
clones,
third film, the girl who plays the species was terrible and
Awful.
horrible. This one, she was a lot better.
Miranda is better,
and the actress like is still acting now and like has been in Fargo and like all sorts of awesome stuff. But she
by the way, she was the model in the beaver suit in that stupid Nespresso commercial with George Clooney and Danny DeVito. That's her her biggest role recently.
She was on American Horror Story too, apparently. But she also, I think, was given more to do in this film than the girl in the third film was.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought she was like way better. I don't know. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
But I was still like wishing that somehow Natasha Henstridge was going to show up.
And Mark Helgenberger, too.
Mark Helgenberger was good. She always brought, like, humanity to it, you know, like, should we be doing this? Like, does this person have autonomy? You know, those kind of questions. So, yeah, it all just kind of deteriorated as the series went on. So...
It was kind of like bad stand-ins of, like... Because of that cool element of these people of science kind of chasing down this thing that they don't understand. The last 2 movies ended up like, well, we'll just make it at the university and there'll be professors and like we'll get that, and it just doesn't translate. It's kind of one of those weird things where you don't quite understand what was working about those first 2 movies, and you end up with these kind of cold, awful protagonists.
Well, and they were very static too. The first 2 were like a chase. They kept being like, oh, we just missed her. Oh, we just missed her. Oh God, more dead people. Oh, obviously sex happened here. And the first one, she left, and he was like, I don't care that she left. And the second one, like they were just in this tiny little Mexican, neighborhood.
It gets to that existential threat thing where it's just like, and we talked about like, oh, they need to do a different story of like, oh, they're fucking, like we need to stop them from fucking, like, oh my God, and it's like now we got that, and it's like I don't know.
This film
if I
was
like
oh, she doesn't really want to have sex because I guess she's sick. Let's like fix her so that she really wants to have sex.
That's what you should do, right? When a woman, when a woman's not really interested in having sex all the time,
you know how to turn a lady on.
There's something wrong with her.
You got to do a human graft, and then everything will be
and
great.
get the stem cells right about now.
Stem cells, baby.
So this was in 2007. It's currently 2017. So if the Species series was ever to continue in any way, what would we want to see?
If it was up to me, I would want to bring back Natasha Henstridge somehow, because technically in the first film they said that there were 3 viable embryos
that looked like Natasha Henstridge.
Right. Yeah. And they grew the first one, put the other 2 in cold storage, and then in the second movie they grew Eve.
They grew
Eve, so there's still 1 left, right? And I would love to see her come back and like learn what has all happened to the previous versions of her, and instead of being like a sex crazed whatever, just using her powers to go fuck everyone
revenge.
up. Fuck everyone up and finally be like a badass. And like, I want you to be rooting for her more than you were in like the other films, like where you might not have been rooting for her.
Yeah, I mean, if you bring her back, you can ignore 3 and 4 completely, which is good.
I kind of have a similar, like, I want to go back to, like, I want to know who sent the DNA in the first place.
That's what you wanted the whole time.
I wanted that the whole time, but like,
but that could get into the whole like, do you really want that explained? The explanation could be boring.
I don't necessarily
Tyler, just watch Contact.
I don't necessarily want it explained. Like, I was thinking, like, but if it's Natasha Henstridge, like the whole thing is like and this is my dumb, like, giant sci-fi idea, but it's like, okay, so they send us that fuel, like, they do the third Natasha Henstridge, it makes it, she's like, okay, well, we need to go, like, it makes a far deep space, like...
You want her to be like, I'm supposed to take you back to my home world.
Not to the home world, not to the home world.
Yeah, that recent Transformers thing that we saw, like, where he wanted to go meet his maker. Maybe she'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Sorry.
But
everyone's side,
yeah,
Tyler.
I know.
I'm kidding.
No, but like, so no, I want them to like. So that was a whole thing where they're like, oh, like this species like fucks and kills just like the worst of everything. Like, let's unleash them on our enemies, and we'll give them the means to get to that planet, and they're using us as a weapon. And so it's like Natasha Henstridge like directing us to go there, and it's like, oh yeah, like they're gonna go conquer and take over all these things. Then it cuts back to the home planet, just being like, we did a good job.
So you want a scene where she unleashes aliens that are gonna just fuck everyone to death?
No. Basically, they give the keys to humanity to build and expand the universe, but they're basically using humanity as a weapon because we're awful.
Yeah.
You kind of lost me.
I think that's too expanded. I just want to see her be a badass.
I would say, apologies to Natasha Henstridge, but I would say if you're gonna continue it, reboot the whole thing. Start from the beginning with a straight up reboot. Like,
well, isn't that what they tried to do with episode 4?
No, I mean like a remake of the original. Like,
all right, so who are you casting in your quirky scientists?
Well, okay,
all of them have to be future Oscar winners.
Syl could be Cara Delevingne. She already kind of looks like an alien.
Okay.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Marge Helgenberger could be Julianne Moore. They wouldn't do it, but let's.
They could.
Ian McKellen would be Ben Kingsley. Even though Ben Kingsley is still alive.
I like how we're aging down. You're like, yeah, Ian McKellen.
You shall not splice.
You shall not fuck.
Forrest Whitaker, the empath, he could be played by
Idris Elba?
No.
I'm kidding. I'm just casting another.
I have no idea. John Boyega.
John Boyega.
Wearing knit caps the entire time.
So wait, you want to just totally follow the same plot as the first film?
No,
with all
not
the
exactly
same
the same, but like the same premise, but do better.
Yeah. I think the knit cap would make it better.
What do we think is the thing that made these movies work, if they ever did?
The first two, and actually having something to say about sexuality and
the second one's so bad, you guys.
Not as bad
I
as
think
the
the
other
second
ones.
one was redeemed by the Natasha Henstridge and Marge Helgenberger storyline.
By the giant rape scene of two puppets.
No, not that. The part where, like, they
There's
had
so
a good
much
relationship.
good stuff going on in the second film compared to the third and fourth ones.
I agree.
That it is better than those films.
And even though Patrick was a horrible actor, like, his whole plot was so much better than any of these other chicks that came later. Yeah.
Think about it. Just think about it.
Unfortunately, I have to do a podcast about it. Speaking of that, I think we're wrapping up our species talk.
Yes.
Any other final thoughts?
No.
Practice safe sex.
Everyone.
Yeah.
A message we can all get behind. I think that we are going to
announce it.
Announce what we're going to do next. Open Water.
Open Water
is going to be our next series. It's going to be dropping next week.
Yeah, if you want to watch along, the first two films are on Showtime. And the most recent one you can rent on whatever platform you use to rent films.
Which came out this year.
Yeah.
Our most recent sequel yet.
Yeah, so it'll probably be the best, right?
Absolutely. Certainly the best episode.
Oh, God.
That's a promise to you, the listener.
Yeah, so thanks for tuning in to our Species franchise. Hope you guys liked it. I want to say thank you quick to my brother for the podcast music at the top of the show. And where else can we...
So email us your suggestions for future sequels.
Yeah.
Tell us what your favorite Species movie was.
Yeah, we want to know.
We will read those emails on the air.
Tell us why we're right and why we're wrong. Please review us on Apple Podcasts.
Justify my life.
Yes.
Only tell us why we're right.
Yeah. Send us hate mail. I don't care. So yeah, please review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or whatever you use.
Subscribe, rate, and review. Please.
Yeah, because that really helps us get seen by more people, hopefully.
Yeah, we don't do any ads, we don't do anything like that, and we just want to do this for you guys, and so just show us a little love.
Yeah.
Until we eventually sell out and get lots of ads in the future.
I mean, we just... if advertisers, if you want us to sell out, we're totally willing.
We want to be sponsored by Chromosomes Are Us.
Yeah, Chromosomes Are Us.
And,
human hormones. This episode
Space
is brought to you
Flakes.
by Human Hormones and Space Flakes.
Space
Walmart
Flakes.
brand Human Hormones.
Put it in there to stop that blue rash.
Oh, God. Okay.
You don't want to go on a fuck crazy rampage
I don't
by
think I
Human
even
Hormones.
Did I even say the email? sequelrights@gmail.com. Tweet at us at sequelrights.
Send it.
Please like
your
us
subpoenas.
Like us at facebook.com/sequelrights.
Follow us on Twitter at Sequel Rights.
I said that already. You were talking. All right, Justin, you want to take it out with the song here?
Yeah, so thanks again for listening, and please enjoy the dulcet tones of Luscious Redhead, Dark as Love.